Hello everyone. I would like to welcome each one of you towards the second webinar of our series. My name is Varsha Jain, representing Away.Education, an overseas education company based in Delhi and NCR. Today we have Douglas O'Connor as an IELTS expert for this session. With his last experience of 19 plus years, he has transformed and made an impact on the journey of 1,000 plus students. Today, he will be helping us out to understand that how we can crack the IELTS exam within a month or a less. Not only this, he also truly believes that IELTS can be a game changer when it comes to transforming your lives and career. Thank you, Douglas, for being there with us call. I welcome you for this session.
Thank you, Varsha. That was very kind of you to invite me to this session. And I'll be sharing all my expertise with the audience that you have there today. And a very good afternoon as well to you and the rest of the audience. Yes, now I think we
Okay.
do have a couple of sessions to go through. Please be patient, listen. It will be very rewarding for all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think, Douglas, what we are trying to do is we are trying to identify a key, which is a matter of great pain for a lot of our students, be it a undergrad student, maybe who is doing his graduation, or maybe a set of an individual who is currently working as a professional. So let us understand, and I would request all my audience and all my viewers right now that if you have any question of any kind, please put us your questions in the chat box so that we will ensure that during the sessions I will be taking up all those questions as well, and let us benefit maximum from this. Okay, so going forward with the my first question of the session, Douglas, I would like to understand from you what are the most effective strategies when it comes to quickly improving the IELTS score in a month or a less?
Well, that is a very pertinent question. And to go forward, I would like to say that the British Council, they designed a program for 40 hours, giving 10 hours each to each of the modules, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And they've asked us to go within that because that is what was designed by them. And they came to understand that that is the ultimate goal in which you could achieve and you could get your required score. Now, we have a set of skills on which we need to focus on. And I've gone through over the years and I found out there are at least six skills in which you need to focus on. First one is the on the four skills. First, you need to understand your abilities reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Make sure you understand what are your requirements, what is the score required for you, and how you could improve in each of those areas. And secondly, study vocabulary, study your grammar that is connected to your IELTS. Make a list
Okay.
of the common vocabulary and grammar and the points that appear in the IELTS exam and practice them using them in your writing and speaking as well. As you go through your practice, you will come through some regular verbs. I have seen over the time and over a period the words however, only, but. All those are very important words both in reading as well as in writing. And then
Absolutely.
practice, and more practice. The more you practice, the more familiar you will become with the test format. Don't forget the test format is the ultimate thing that you will be looking at. And listen to the type of questions, both in listening, read the type of questions in reading. What I have come to understand is there are at least eight or nine different question types in reading, and maybe four or five have been given great importance. And you should be, equipping yourself with proper focus on those particular four or five questions and practice all the tests. Sometimes you people, you're likely to leave out the listening, likely to leave out the speaking. No, utilize all your practice materials, a lot of practice materials and the official material, especially for Cambridge. Cambridge is the the people who supply you material. Then third, and sorry, the fourth one is definitely what I want to say is your time management. Manage your time, in fact, I should have said this earlier. That's why I said a big sorry. But People just go into the class, go into the hall without understanding that time management is of primary importance. Make sure you understand the time limits for each section of the test. You know what I've come across is you need 1.25 minutes for each question, for each answer, including the paragraph that you will go across. So once you understand that the time management is important, then you will realize, don't look at the clock in the hall, don't look at it, it will make you dejected. Just put your head down and understand what you need to do, what you need to do. Sometimes it is very important that you do 10 questions in one passage, 10 in the other, 10 in the third passage, so that you secure at least 30 questions, and then you come back and find out if you have anything more, if there's any possibility. You know, the human mind, you want to dwell too much on one particular question if you don't know how to solve that. And
True.
there's also the possibility of, working in groups, getting a feedback. Talk to somebody who has already done the test, find out the pattern, what did they do, what are the practicalities involved in the hall, and focus on your language skills. Key language skills are there: the paraphrasing, your summarizing information, and keep your head in the center of the book. Only retain eye movement from left to right. Learn to read in word groups. Learn to read in word groups. Don't read words. At your age, and once you come to the 12th standard and beyond, you do not need words. You need word groups. And that is the word group. I can tell you a lot about word groups because I've analyzed the English language itself is based only on 5 word groups. And if you are able to understand what are the word groups, you will know, okay, the noun word group is the answer to the question. We can maybe later on, or whenever you come up with questions, I can show you or teach you what are the word groups and how they will help you to answer your questions.
True. Oh, I guess the set of insights that you have really shared here is not coming, from some ready material, because it is truly coming from the set of experience that you have earned over these years. In order to summarize the pointers that just now we spoke to the set of our audience and to all the set of students who will be now writing up their IELTS exam within no time, I think the most important component is please understand your abilities. Okay, if you really understand that what is it that you are aiming for, what is it that you are able right now, how do you need to bridge that time and that gap as a whole, is where it helps you to understand and take you through that journey as a whole. I think the second important component is because, of course, we are talking about an English language proficiency test. So, of course, you need to be very strong when it comes to studying, knowing, or learning about the vocabulary that you will be building up. I think the third thing is which comes automatically for any exam, any phase of your life, which talks about practice. Practice more, practice harder, and practice every day for that matter. I think the fourth component that we have spoken about, and that is a very valid point also, Douglas, because that is what comes, I want to discuss it at length even in the later questions that I may have for you, which is time management. Okay. I think a lot of the students I have also personally heard, saying that, ma'am, we could not complete the paper. So I am not too sure right now for the exam score that I'm going to get. So I think that is also something which I see as a pain point of a lot of students, especially and the professionals as well. So that I need to discuss with you at length. And of course, it is very, very important to take regular feedback from your mentor, because in case if you have solved 10 mock papers or 20 mock papers, or maybe you have given some other exams also in the meanwhile, it's very important that you maintain that regular feedback to understand and see that scope of improvement every time you come back. I think the sixth most important factor is that focus on the language skills as a whole. So please do not really underestimate one form of the exam or thinking, I know more of reading, or maybe I know more of writing, because we do get students coming in from different zone, okay, different regions and different backgrounds. So I think it is very important. Somebody may have a speaking English problem, somebody may have a writing skill issue. So I think focus on those language skills. Thank you so very much, Douglas, for having these insights. I think moving on to the second question for the day that we may have. Uh,
Yes.
So, the set of students who are now willing to take on the journey of their overseas education are mostly the professionals or maybe the student. I mean, that is what the category that we get into. So, when we are talking about, so I need to understand that how do we efficiently or maybe effectively balance studying IELTS with the other course of life that we are into. Maybe I'm a student, or maybe I'm a working professional. I work in a call center, maybe. So, what will you have to say and guide about this as a whole?
Well, Varsha, in my 19 plus years of teaching, I've come across boys and girls from the 12th standard right up to even engineers, and very funnily, even those who are going to London to perform pujas. Even they had to do this IELTS, and they used to come to me and ask me, "Sir, how can we balance our time?" Because temple management, this managers in big organizations, 12th standard school boys, all have their own different commitments, and time is ever so important for them. So, what I would like to tell you here is prioritize, plan well, prioritize your time, what you would do in the morning, set aside, okay, when do you go to school, when are you free, so and set steady goals, set them very clear, no, determine what score you need, what exam you're going to do, what kind of course you are going to study in the college or wherever else, and this will help you to stay focused and motivated if you align your study program with your goal. Now, schedule your time. Schedule it. No, okay. Every morning, 6 o'clock, I will get up. No matter what, I will get up at 6 o'clock. I will do this. I will do that. It has to be. You have to write down your timetable. Don't come back and say, "Sir, I'm working. I have night shift." No, you know your time. You know what you want. So you have to schedule your time. You have to study within that. And once you practice and schedule your time, it gets into your head, and in fact, it becomes more fixed, and you'll be able to understand better. Now, create a weekly schedule. Create a weekly schedule and stick to it as much as possible, because it is something that you want and you have to make time. So make use of your free time. I'm very sure that you don't come back and say, "Sorry, I don't have any free time." Yeah, everybody has some kind of free time. You may need to deny yourself of any entertainment, or maybe get away from any shopping or things like that. Ask somebody else to do such things. You can also listen to an English podcast or read good language news, English newspapers, things like that. Improve your listening, improve your reading. I always say, if you read more, you will write better. If you listen more, you will speak better. This has been my experience over the years. And be efficient. Spend that time. Suppose you are going to spend 1 hour, not 40 minutes. Okay, make time, make the most
That's
of your study time, make most of your study time. Learn what are the techniques that you could use within those 60 minutes that you have given to yourself. Summarize the information, create flashcards, okay, and ask questions about what you have learned. Ask yourself or somebody to repeat them. Make a tape with somebody singing, sing along with that, then stop the tape and sing without that. Find out if you're able to manage those words in the same tune, in the same way. And one thing is, don't think in your mother tongue and translate in English. Don't do that. You need to think in English, write in English. Don't think in
true.
Tamil or Malayalam or Hindi and try to write it. No way, it doesn't work out that way. All right.
Understood.
Yeah, and please seek support. No, get study in a group, call up some friends, go there, sit down with them. You learn by others' mistakes. Other people learn through your mistake.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and prioritize your commitment. What have you committed? What do you want in life? You want this IELTS, right? You cannot stand somewhere and say, "I want IELTS."
True.
IELTS is the most famous examination nowadays, far better than whatever else is there. I don't
Very
praise IELTS and let down. No, even all other languages are good. Sometimes the PT is very, very comprehensive, but IELTS is the language which is changing a lot of lives, and you do need
absolutely.
to pay a lot of attention to that. Lots of options are there, wide options for work, for migration, for study, for research programs. Everything requires this particular IELTS. Now
So
remember, it is very important to be patient with yourself. Don't get irritated. You do need to be very patient. It's very important. And I think if you are patient with yourself, you overcome your mistakes steadfastly, you will be able to get your desired IELTS score.
True. No, I am absolutely with you. I mean, I cannot really agree anything more on this because I personally believe that, nobody, has 25 hours or 26 hours, but I believe on the art of making, time from the time that you have. If you are, and doing your activities, being mindful of what you do. I think the journey of the IELTS exam, practically in our own heads, we have made it for 6 months or 4 months or 3 months in a way like that. But if you are appropriately investing your time, I think you wrap this exam somewhere between 2.5 months. But again, it's very very important that if these are the 2 months that I have taken for myself, I will try and reduce my other set of activities, or maybe I plan my this journey in a better form or a fashion, so that the stress is not there on me as an individual, on me as a working professional. But then I am also understanding that these 2 months I may have to stretch it little hard, just because that there is a target that I really need to fulfill and taken care of. So I do agree that it is very and extremely important for us to prioritize the task that we have at hand. And if you really know that this is something that you're signing up for a better life, for a better dream, or maybe a thought that you already had in your mind, I think so. It is easily doable. So we should not, at any given point in time, think about it that it's one of the finest or maybe the most difficult exam and we cannot do it. I think it is just the willingness, and an attitude wherein you say that, okay, fine, I am ensuring that I am cutting out all the non-important things from my schedule, because I need to add one important factor, which is IELTS training for me right now. Okay. To my audience, I would like to request, the conversation is going very interesting. We are getting some very, very important outputs. My intention out here on this conversation will be to bring out the pain points of the students, and even the parents as well, to whom we have seen over the years, and they are, coming with those kind of gaps that they always have been looking for an answer. So I do want everybody and each one of you, whatever you have the questions, please let us know. I think moving on to the third question for today. A lot of students, even after taking the coachings or maybe taking up the instructions, they are still goofing up in some form or the other. So this makes me to think to the third question, which is that what are the common mistakes that the aspirants make, while preparing for this exam, and how, in your experience, do you think this can be avoided?
Well, I think learning the format of the exam is more appropriate than doing the exam itself.
All
So,
right.
students go to the exam without knowing the format. How many questions in reading? How many questions in listening? What is the time format for reading? What is the time format for listening? What about speaking? And what about writing? So, there are four formats, and all of them have their own approach, their own strategy. Some years ago, when I was looking at this IELTS, even I did not know what is the meaning of IELTS. And I was very shy to ask people, what is this IELTS? That was somewhere around 2004. And somebody threw me some books and told me, here, read this. And when I opened the page, the first thing I came across is, if the monkey wants a banana, give the monkey a banana. Don't give the monkey an apple. Don't give the monkey two bananas. It means do exactly what is required in the instruction. So
Oh,
if you are going to do the question, let us say you're going to do the writing, and in the writing, they tell you not less than 150 words, not more than 180 words for task one, both for the general as well as the academic. You know something? If you write less than 150 words, there's a minus point 0.5. And if you write more than 180 words, it is deleted. So, when
oh,
you're
that's
practicing task one in writing, you will be looking forward to move within that 150 to 180 words. And when you come to the essay, read the essay very carefully. Read the essay very carefully. And let me go back immediately before I forget. Let me go back to task one. In task one, you have as the letter For general students, they give you 3 points in that, and you have to include those 3 points when you're writing the letter, otherwise, minus point 0.5. And again, in task one for the academic, look at the graph. You're not supposed to give your opinion, whatever kind of graph is there. You're supposed to just describe the graph. Of course, we will go more into that detail whenever you have any questions, how to describe the graph, what is the language, but no opinion is required when you are describing the graph. And as far as task 2 is concerned, not less than 250 words, not more than 280 words. If it is less than 250, there is a minus point 0.5. These are the things that people don't know about, and that's why, I'm sorry to say that in the whole of India, it is very difficult for people to cross 6.5. Even people who are well educated forget the format. And if you are talking about an ice cream cone, don't talk about the ice cream. That is what they mean by give the monkey a banana, meaning that you do exactly what is there in the question. So, what I would advise you is in task 2, go back to the question after every 5 minutes. Are you within the question? Are you within the question? Have you answered all the points? Do you agree? Do you agree or disagree? How far do you agree? To what extent do you agree? So these are all the valid points. So make sure you understand the instructions first. Please read out what is the format, what kind of format you need to follow before you attempt the writing. In reading, listen carefully. You have 3 paragraphs, and they have requested you to answer all the questions. And again, I repeat, no need to answer all the 40 questions if you are weak. No need. Give yourself a few questions here and there. Come back. People leave out the third one because it is difficult. No, attempt it to do it as a second one. So please learn the form. And in listening, no, don't enjoy, get into the conversation and enjoy the conversation between what is going on between the two people. You're not supposed to enjoy the conversation. You're supposed to listen for information. You are supposed to listen for the information, not enjoy the conversation. Some students say, sir, they are talking very nicely, sir. It means you are getting involved in the conversation without actually listening for the information that you require. And when you are listening, keep scribbling, keep scribbling. We call it doodling, right? When you're listening to a phone call, you keep doodling. Please keep scribbling. That is the only way you will remain connected with the answer that is required. Please keep scribbling. When they say you have half a minute to look at your answers, that is the time you need to take one answer from the scribbling and put it in your question paper or answer sheet.
Right.
So, this is very important. Keep scribbling. If you're waiting for the answer, perhaps you may overlook the answer. And by the time you think, I missed, that's it. 3 or 4 questions would have gone, 3 or 4 answers would have gone, and you'll be wondering what happened. So if you keep scribbling, you will be in tune with the speaking that is going on, and I don't think you will make any mistake. Always write your answers in caps. Listening answers, reading answers must be written in pencil in caps. All right? And
Okay.
don't neglect practice. Please practice your speaking, practice your writing in English. Take a newspaper and take a beautiful ad. Don't take the news, take some other article. Write out every day. I have seen, through all my experience, people who are writing down articles every day, they learn English writing very fast. Comma, full stop, content, word power, word building, sentence structure, active voice, passive voice, complex sentence, compound sentence. All these are very important when they start giving you the 6 band that they give for essay writing and 3 band for your small task one writing. Okay, don't neglect your speaking practice and your listening practice, and please try to speak to somebody in English. And as often as possible, you cannot come to the class suddenly and try to learn English. Whatever's there, you have to go out and start practicing it. Most of you whose mother tongue is not English, you go back to your native language, and you don't touch English at all. In that case, you cannot expect to go to the exam and suddenly start speaking in English. You can't do that, so you need to practice. All right, and then use authentic material. Cambridge has given us enough material to practice on. There is one website called the IELTS online test.com and the IELTS buddy.com, the road to IELTS, all British Council websites. If people need to use that in order to improve, please utilize that. No, you can practice that every day and get yourself assessed also as well, right? Then pay attention to time management. Pay attention to time management. If you cannot manage your time, perhaps you have lost half your goal, half your aims. If you cannot practice your time, so
True.
you must understand how to do all the reading, how to do the listening. Don't sit and just wait for the answers. Write them down. Time management, you see that you cover all the questions or 10, 10, 10, so that you will come back and do the balance. And in speaking, what I would advise you, keep speaking. They ask you a question, don't say yes and stop. If you say yes, then you definitely have to continue to elaborate that yes. That is how you manage the time, and they will stop you. You are not supposed to know the time. You're not supposed to know the time. So whatever questions are there, talk and talk. Keep talking. Sit back, relax. Keep talking. They will stop you when they have to go
Sure.
home. They also need to go home. So keep talking. Then
Sure.
focus on your language skills. That is what even Varsha was telling you, how your language skills will become ever so important. Paraphrasing, summarizing, and synonyms. The whole reading exam is based on your knowledge of synonyms. If you're not able to identify which word matches with which word, the synonym for this word and that word, you are in trouble. So you can get a collection of synonyms only if you read more. And now the latest intro in inclusion is the fill in the blanks, which entirely depend upon synonyms. In those days,
True.
they used to give you the fill in the blanks in a box, and the words will be found in the paragraph. But not
Understood.
anymore. Not
Sure.
anymore. You're supposed to find the synonym for those words that are in the box and then convert that into letters and fill the blanks. So finding that is definitely going to take you a lot of time if you're not familiar with synonyms. And to do that, you need to read that particular line. You know, there is a hierarchical formation in your questions. So where will you go for each question? And if you know where to go for each question, definitely you've already conquered time management and
Understood.
language skill. Both you can hit it together if you are able to manage your time, if you are able to manage your synonym, okay, then it will become easy. Otherwise, this particular new inclusion of fill in the blanks that totally depend on synonyms, you will definitely lose at least 5 or 6 band because of that kind of. And what is happening is, out of the out of the 8 or 9 question patterns, they stick to 4 or 5, and sometimes you may get 20 questions based only on fill in the blanks that are again based on synonyms. So
Understood.
please equip
Yep.
yourself well with synonyms. Okay,
Sure.
so now listen, and then again remember this practice, getting feedback, assessing yourself. IELTSonlinetest.com makes a very good assessment. They make a very good assessment in all your 4 speaking modules. Please
Sure.
use that. That is very, no, what can I say, is very essential, very accurate, and it is the most appropriate thing that you could do for yourself. So
Sure.
please reach your goal and practice well.
Sure. Thank you so very much for such a detailed insight. But then I also wanted to understand, Douglas, from you. A lot of students do at times come and say, "Ma'am, shall we give a computer-based test, or shall we give a pen pencil or a pen paper-based test?" So, just wanted to have your insights on this being a faculty. So, what is it? Is it as per the category of the student, or maybe is it to do something with your typing skills or the remembrance power? So how would you like to answer this question?
Well, I advise most of my students to go for the paper based test.
Okay.
One is the writing, where if they have very good writing, well and good, because task 1 and task 2 depends entirely on good handwriting. And They are going to write in pencil. There is a nice way of using your eraser to make it neat and presentable. That's one important point. And what you said was, there are some people who are very good at typing. Fine, they are good at typing. Both, the typing and the reading and the paper-based test, they have their good points and their bad points, each of them. So if some student says, "Sir, I'm working in a call center and we are typing and I know techniques," this, that," okay, please go ahead, do your test online, do it well. But then again, there is a nature. If the mouse is weak, you may drag A and put it in B box, and you will never know because you're in such a hurry. That is
Okay.
that is exactly, yeah. If the mouse is weak, if you have let go of that little pressure on your finger, and you're dragging A from A box and putting it in B box answer, you will not know because again you're going to the next question. There
Oh,
is that danger. That is the danger there, and there are a few people who have done very well in the online test, and there are people who have trusted the old pen and paper test and they have done well. And there are people who have also switched from online to pen and paper test. There are people who have done that feeling that they did not do the online test properly, because the online test, you don't get extra time for listening. There is no extra time. But in the pen and paper test, there is at least you have 10 minutes extra. And
oh,
there are certain shortcomings in listening, that suppose you have to read very carefully, and you're looking at your time, you're typing the answers. Some answers need to be typed, some answers need to be just ticked off in the box. So you may tick, using your mouse, you may tick the wrong box because you're in a hurry. But I would say, if you're good at typing, then please go for the online test. Otherwise, the pen and paper test, the old model, is always the safest.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm with you on this. Also, a lot of students do believe that, if we are giving an exam, maybe in certain regions or certain areas of Punjab, we are going to get a better score. I do not know. I personally consider this as a myth. But then still, since we are on this call, and it made me to think to ask this question to you. A lot of students do say, ma'am, we have heard that, if you're giving this exam from Punjab, you're probably rated better as compared to if you're writing this exam maybe in Delhi, Gurgaon, or maybe some metro locations. So what is your take on this as a question?
Yes, I did have this experience. I saw for myself a few months ago. The paper varied in Cochin and Coimbatore. And we were always promised that the question paper, maybe in the whole world or at least in Asia, would be the same. But when I got a feedback from the students, I found that the essay question for those writing in Kochi were different to the essay questions for those writing in Coimbatore. I was a bit shocked, but I don't know, because many times when we ask the students for a feedback after the exam, many of them are not able to remember what exactly came for the essay. And
Okay.
now, to get back to your question, yes, the myth is there that we go to Punjab, or we'll go to Kottayam, we'll go to Coimbatore. It is easier. No, they're supposed to give you the same question paper on the same day, everywhere, and at the same time. Sometimes there are people who are doing the morning test, they want to do the afternoon test because they feel morning test is bad, afternoon test is better. No, they see, going to Punjab or going to Gujarat or going to Coimbatore or going to Madurai or somewhere in Chennai, the question paper is the same. There is no such thing that this is easy and that is easy. Maybe the speaking, maybe because that is involves a local person, that could be, this way, that
One
way
of the
slightly.
differentiating factor to an extent. Okay. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe. Yeah, yeah.
okay, okay,
So,
okay.
what I was trying to say, maybe it is a big maybe that the speaking could be a little better in the Punjab, a little better in Kerala, and maybe very difficult in Chennai. I have had students, all the way from Chennai, they'll go to Kottayam to write the exam, stay for 2 days, and come back.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
don't know. See, they should realize, okay, I'm doing this for the second time, so that's why I passed, and not because they wrote it in Kottayam.
sure. So true.
So this is a myth. This is a myth, and I wouldn't like to let down anybody that okay, this is going on and that is going. No, it is a myth. Stay in your hometown, study well, do the exam peacefully in your hometown instead of traveling up and down before the exam, after the exam. You see, it doesn't work like that. Writing here and there and getting better score is just a myth. It's not supposed to work like that, and I don't think any student should think like that. It's not like that. Even some years ago, I asked the British Council people when we went for a meeting, and everybody laughed. I don't know why everyone, including the Britishers who came there that day, they all laughed. And then they proved that okay, the question paper in those days it was British Council and IDP. Now it
Yeah.
is only IDP. Yeah, it's only IDP. Of course, they do hold a monopoly on that, and people are really struggling. They do hold a monopoly, but we have to do our best, and we cannot blame anybody. Yeah, we don't blame
So,
anyone for
so
anything.
what I really feel is, I think, I have, this is what I have even heard from a lot of students. I think that the speaking component is something that becomes a differentiating factor when you're changing maybe the locations per se.
Yes,
But I think my suggestion to all my students have been that do not really go with all these information which is around. In case if you are best at your preparation, I think location is not going to certainly matter for you. I think the set of confidence and the learning, I think you should just stick to that as a component and not to any other information, maybe good or bad. We do not really know, and we cannot even judge also. So okay. Douglas, coming back to okay, so I can see a question here from stating that, sir, how can I give my IELTS exam? I think the better answer to this I see is, the process is standardized for giving and writing the exam. I think rather you're trying to understand that, how can I do my preparations and my things in a way like that. Soon after this session, we will be sharing the details so that you can get in touch with the faculty for that matter, to understand in detail that, where you are right now, the way he rightly said some time back. We can maybe probably conduct a mock test exam for you to understand that, where you are right now, what is it that you're aspiring for in terms of your countries programs, what is the score which is required as per your counselor, and then accordingly we can frame it out as well. So I think that is something that that is pretty much doable, and that is how I would like to answer your question right now. Also, going forward on the conversation that we are going through, Douglas, given that one piece of advice, if you have to give it to all our viewers and all our audience today, so what is that one piece of advice that you would like to share today?
practice, practice, and more practice. The
Certainly.
thing is, that people go to a course, and the course is designed for 40 hours, and they feel that they have not learned enough. The teaching that can be done for IELTS is only within that 40-hour peripheral. It doesn't go beyond that. If anything is there beyond it, it is only practice. Whatever has been taught has to be put into practice, whether it is speaking or reading or writing. And there is so much of material. As I told you earlier, there's only 8 or 9 different question patterns, and all those question patterns already been taught in the class. So it means that you need to practice those question patterns, especially when if you're getting. See, one thing I have come to know is your book 14, 15, right from book 1 right up to book 16 is nothing more than an exhausted question bank from Cambridge question bank. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, those books that you have printed now, 16 is there, 17 is there. Those books are printed from exhausted question banks. Those question banks are sold to GRE or GMAT, TOEFL, whatever exams are there. So those question banks, after a year, they are printed as Cambridge material and given to you. Those things are not going to come again on any account. It means you're going to practice the pattern and not the question. Then never again will a question come. Never. Whether it is reading or listening, speaking, maybe it could be a coincidence. So practice those 8 or 9 question patterns, as far as reading is concerned. Listen and listen to as many tapes or CDs as possible to get the pronunciation of the foreigner. Sometimes it is a South African who's giving you the English output. Sometimes it is an Australian accent. Sometimes a British accent. Sometimes it could be a Canadian accent. Sometimes it's an American accent. If you have been practicing only Canadian accent, English accent, and if you have gone there that day and it is Australian accent, then you could be in trouble, thinking, oh my God, this is going very fast. I can't understand. It is because you were practicing only one. So, an extensive practice is going to put you into link with the different language output. Everybody speak English, everyone, even my mother tongue is English, but maybe I speak in a different way. The pronunciation could be different. The usage could be different. So please practice, practice, and practice. That is the only way where you will expose yourself to different accents as far as listening is concerned. And as far as reading is concerned, if you were able to go into different material, then you will see how those 8 or 9 question patterns have been really attacked and have been overcome. I'll tell you, no, true, false not given as its secrets. Yes, no, not given as its secrets. Multiple
True,
choice as its secrets.
true,
List of headings as its secrets. Fill in the blanks. So
true.
everything has a strategy, and this strategy will not come to you if you do not practice.
Sure.
So
Uh,
this is one thing. And wait, a little thing more that I would like to tell you. What I have seen over the years is, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, from book 14 and 15 and 16 and 17, one question pattern overlaps the other 2 or 3 question patterns. If a
okay.
student is able to identify what is that question pattern that overlaps the other question patterns, then he will manage the reading, he will manage his time, and he will come back quite happy. If you were going to do 1 to 5, then turn the page from 6 to 9, then turn the page from 10 to 13, you will be in trouble because you will realize that you're reading the same paragraph again and again and again for different answers.
True.
So this is what I would like to tell you, people. And do not attempt to do all the 40 questions. Give yourself enough time, 10, 10, as I said it earlier. And don't enjoy the listening. Don't involve yourself in that listening. When they come back, they say, sir, they were talking very nicely. Who asked you to talk, whether they are talking nicely or they're talking badly? You're going there. They are going there. You're learning you're going there to listen for information. What information you want? No more than 2 words. Everybody write 2 words.
True.
No more, no more.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe the
sure.
1 word, yeah, maybe 1 word, maybe 2 words. But it doesn't mean that everything has got a 2 words. So
Yeah.
listening too has its own strategy, and
Sure.
it comes back only through extensive practice.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
And
Also,
yeah, please, yeah, Varsha,
yeah,
please.
okay, so we have a lot to share and a lot to talk about. I do understand.
Yes,
Okay, so coming, considering the time as a factor in hand that we have, and we do not really want our audience to hold for a very long time,
yes,
because I do understand it's a working day and you may have all your commitments as well. I think the point that we are today trying to make is, please do not be really fearful of IELTS as an exam. It is just an English proficiency exam. Some may take longer, some may take a sweet time of 15 to 20 days. But I guess the most important catch into this entire conversation is that please understand the paper pattern, follow the instructions to the core, and also try and work on your time management as a whole. In case if you guys have any further questions, you want to understand more about it, we will be anytime available for you. You can call us on the numbers being given to you through the webinar links. And of course, we will be there to help you at the earliest. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining to this session today. I so hope that you may have got some important conversations. You must be in a situation where you have got and taken some valuable inputs. So if you have any more information, please reach out to the email ID which is being shared on the screen, and of course you can give us a direct call as well. We will be there to help you, to assist you, to connect you with the faculties, which may ever is going to be reasonably available to you, looking at the factor that if your need is online or an offline thing. Thank you so much, everybody, for being there with us. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you to all. Have a good day. Thank you.